Mr. Chairman. Mr. Dubinsky, I want to come to you quickly. A lot of talk about evidence. On the screens in the room, we have an organizational chart from the IRS investigative team that was looking into the business practices of Hunter Biden and his associates. This org chart is from 2014. Now, Mr. Dubinsky, when my former life, I was in community banking, and I'm comfortable with looking at organizational charts. When I first saw this chart, the first thing I thought about was a real estate holding company or a developer, and this is not to demean developers in the great East State of America, but developers typically have multiple companies that float with various business interests and business lines. But the funny thing is that in the business dealings of Hunter Biden, there is no real estate, none at all. So, Mr. Dubinsky, in your professional experience, looking at this organizational chart of business structure, what do you see here?
I see a very complicated structure of entities that are interrelated and would give me concern. If I were an investigator, I would want to know what's going on in these entities, who's behind them, how's the money moving between them, and what is the substance of the transactions? What's really going on here?
Mr. Dubinsky, do you think it's in the interest of this committee that is now in an inquiry phase to actually find out all of the flow of money between these entities and what the purpose was?
Absolutely.
Next slide, please. For my colleagues on the other side, we're going to start talking evidence now. This is now a slide of the organizational chart of the Hunter Biden business companies and with associates from 2018, from the same IRS investigators who were broke down the business structure in 2014. Does this slide cause you the same concern, Mr. Dubinsky?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Now let's talk about some more. Actually, one point I want to make on this. Ladies and gentlemen, and I know it's kind of small, so I would love to submit, I will submit all this for the record. I would love my colleagues on the other side to see this. In 2014, one of the key owners was Devin Archer, who did testify and who was under deposition under oath by the Oversight Committee. In 2018, Devin Archer is no longer listed, but his wife, Krista Archer, is now listed. Mr. Dubinsky, when you see a situation where ownership interest moves from one spouse to the other, is that a concern of some level of fraud potentially?
I would call it a red flag. That's something I would look at and again, try to get to the bottom of what happened there. Was it just transferred? Was there money behind it? What was going on? Okay,
thank you. Next slide. Now, this is to a text message. This is a text message between, it's going to Naomi Biden. That's what this one is. Hold on, wait, so let me get my stuff back. There we go. Sorry. This is the WhatsApp text message between Jim Biden and Hunter Biden. In this text message, it clearly says, anyway, we can talk later, but you've been drawn into something purely for the purpose of protecting Dad. This is between Hunter Biden and Jim Biden. Last time I checked, the father of Jim Biden and Joe Biden is now passed away. So I'm assuming this is Hunter Biden saying to Jim Biden, the president's brother, that you've been brought in this for the sole purpose of protecting Dad. Ms. O'Connor, do you think that this text message would lead this committee to get further information about the business dealings of Hunter Biden and how that actually links to Jim Biden, the president's brother, and why they are so concerned with protecting Dad, a.k.a. Joe Biden, a.k.a. the President of the United States?
Yes.
Thank you. Next slide, please. This is a text message between Hunter Biden and Naomi Biden. And this one is a famous one. Everybody knows this one. This is the famous one that says, I hope you all do what I did and pay for everything for this entire family for 30 years. It's really hard. But don't worry, unlike Pop, I won't make you give me half your salary. Mr. Dubinsky, if you saw a text message like this in a potential money laundering operation or a potential pay-for-play operation, would you be looking for information related to money going from son to father?
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Thank you. Next slide. Oh, this is a fun one. Ladies and gentlemen, this one is from 2018. This is about 4 months before Joe Biden launched his campaign for president of the United States, December 2018. The highlight is, this is a text message between Jim Biden and Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden was in a bad way, by the way. He was really strung out. He lost a bunch of money. He needed help. Jim Biden says, this can work. You need a safe harbor. I can work with your father alone. It'll probably take several months and everybody can read the text. Ms. O'Connor, Mr. Dubinsky, if you saw text messages like this between the president's brother and the president's son, wouldn't you be concerned about them trying to give plausible deniability for the president of the United States to not have any knowledge of said business dealings?
It's worth.
Gentleman's time's expired, but please answer the question.
It's worth investigating.
Mr. Dubinsky?
I would agree. I would investigate this.
I yield back. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman yields back. Before I recognize Mr. Christian Morte, Mr. Goldman, I will give you an opportunity to quickly recognize you for your point of order.
I just want to make sure that page 131 of the transcript of the Devin Archer interview is entered into the record.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes Mr. Christian Morte from Illinois for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Professor Turley, Hunter Biden's a private citizen, not a federal official, right?
Yes, sir.
A special counsel investigating Hunter Biden recently indicted him for various illegal acts. I'm sure you're aware of this indictment. I have it in my hands. But nowhere in Hunter Biden's indictment is there any allegation of Joe Biden having committed any wrongdoing, right?
That's correct, sir.
Not a parking ticket, not a moving violation, not a library fine, not a high crime or misdemeanor. In fact, on page 19 of your witness statement that you submitted, you said, quote, "The current record does not establish any crime, let alone an impeachable offense." Now, let's further explore what's been established about Joe Biden. The Hill reports Senator Marco Rubio, quote, "noted that House Republicans are discussing a special impeachment inquiry to obtain evidence of criminal behavior that they have not been able to dig up through the House Oversight Committee." And Rubio warned that setting up a special impeachment counsel without strong evidence of a crime could trivialize the process. Now, sir, Senator Rubio is a Republican, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about whether this evidence that Mr. Rubio was referring to exists. Our colleague Ken Buck, a senior member of the Judiciary Committee, said the following regarding evidence linking President Biden to an alleged crime. Quote, "That doesn't exist right now." Now, sir, Ken Buck is a Republican, correct?
Yes, sir.
Senator Mitt Romney of Utah said, quote, "There hasn't been any allegation yet, any conduct which reaches the constitutional standard for impeachment." And sir, Mitt Romney is a Republican as well, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, let me turn to another topic here. Ms. O'Connor, here I have a poster of an entry from your professional LinkedIn account. There's your picture, and it says Law Office of Eileen J. O'Connor. We printed here what you posted roughly 1 week ago. It says, quote, "The Biden administration is promoting and enabling the invasion." That's what your post says, right?
Yes, it does.
And it further goes on to say, if this doesn't stop quickly, then the entire USA will be invaded with millions of military-aged men from many different countries who are ready to cause total havoc while getting paid $2,200 a month in welfare to do so.
Did I write that?
You reposted it, and it says it is an engineered death spiral. Now, let me show you another posting that you put up on your professional LinkedIn account.
May I respond? If there is an
You can
impeachment
respond when
inquiry,
I'm
I
done.
think it should
When I'm
be
done with my question,
for the deliberate demolition of
can
the
you
United
please put
States
this
of
up?
America.
Ma'am, this is another posting from your professional LinkedIn account. This says, announcing Michigan telethon to raise funds for 16 alternate electors who crooked Dana Nessel wants to jail. Now, ma'am, that's your professional LinkedIn account, right?
It is.
Now, let me turn to you, Mr. Turley. Professor Turley, in 2006, you wrote an op-ed in The Guardian entitled, quote, "Stop Persecuting Polygamists." There, you liken polygamists to, quote, "persecuted minorities," and you said polygamy is, quote, "a practice with deep and good faith religious meaning." Isn't that what you said?
I represented the sister wives family in challenging a polygamy
The
prosecution.
answer is yes. You've been crusading for legalizing polygamy for years. In fact, in an op-ed in the USA Today, you said that a Utah polygamist named Tom Green, who was also convicted of pedophilia for raping his 13-year-old stepdaughter, should not have been charged with polygamy. Now, Mr. Chairman,
Can I
we're
respond,
counting.
sir? Because that's not, can I respond? Because it's not entirely accurate. I actually criticized him. What I was dealing with was the constitutionality of what is called morals legislation. And I admit I'm pretty libertarian.
Was
but
Tom
the
Green
idea is
convicted of
whether- the idea is
pedophilia and
whether the
rape?
Government can
Was he
impose a
convicted
moral
of
code on
pedophilia and
people.
rape? The answer is yes. Mr. Chairman, we're counting down the hours until a government shutdown, and here we have a hearing where we have one witness who defended a polygamist who was convicted of pedophilia and rape, and we have another witness with LinkedIn accounts with extreme views posted. I think that, unfortunately, this speaks to the credibility of the witnesses and the credibility of this impeachment inquiry.